Boxing doesn't hand you second chances. It dangles them just out of reach until someone is brave enough or stubborn enough to grab with both hands. That's what this rematch feels like. A second grasp at legacy, pride, and a rivalry older than both men at the dais. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is set once again. The calendar is circled November 15, and the air around British boxing is crackling. But here's the twist. The noise isn't just about two fighters. It's about fathers and sons, contracts and claws, accusations and ambulance sirens. And it's about whether the sequel can outdo the blockbuster that already shocked us in April.
But we are here, of course, this evening to talk about a truly epic rematch taking place November 15th, once again here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, live on DAZN. I mean, cast your eyes and your mind back to April, a night which had just about everything and surpassed even the wildest of our...
That April night became instant folklore. Shoulder-to-shoulder ring walks with their fathers' anthems, simply the best and dangerous, and a fight that surged past expectations. It wasn't just a clash of styles. It was a collision of family histories, promotional empires, and the question that's been simmering for years. Who really owns the next chapter of Benn versus Eubank?
When Chris Eubank Sr. arrived at the stadium alongside his son Chris Eubank Jr. as Conor and his father Nigel watched on from backstage, we remember the cinema of what the atmosphere was like in this stadium. The ring walks, shoulder to shoulder alongside their fathers to their fathers' songs, simply the best.
The first word in this press conference, though, isn't a word of respect. It's a challenge shaped like politeness, a quick word from Chris Eubank Jr., quickly morphing into a demand to address Conor Benn first. It sets the tone. The mic will become a weapon tonight, and everyone on that stage knows how to use it.
Quick word from Chris Eubank Jr. Chris, when you think back to April...
I'd like you to address Conor first. I think I'm just interested to hear what he's got to say.
Okay, as you wish. Firstly to you, Conor Benn. Conor, when you think about what happened in April, you always said it was the early runs that got you out of bed because you feared losing.
Benn handles the question with an admission most fighters hate to say aloud. The loss hurt, and the lessons were hard. Experience was gained, he says. It sounds measured, but it also sounds like a promise that November won't look like April.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's always hard processing a loss. Nobody prepares to lose. You know, as fighters, we want to do our best, but ultimately we want to get the victory at all costs. You know, it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself. I want to go back to the drawing board and work and learn, gain experience, and experience was gained.
Then Eubank Jr. leans into a narrative flip no one quite expected. For a decade plus, he has enjoyed or endured the villain role. But now, he insists, he's hearing something different from the public encouragement from people who don't even follow boxing. He swears he's not the bad guy anymore. If you've covered this sport long enough, you know, that's a dangerous theme for a rematch. It means the audience has picked a plot twist and maybe a protagonist.
What a crazy, crazy world we live in today. For my entire life as a professional fighter, I have been the villain and the bad guy. 14 years and 38 fights of people loving to hate me. But, you know, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but from what I'm seeing online nowadays and the interactions I'm having with, you know, people all over the world in the streets, I don't know if I'm that guy anymore. It's not just boxing fans that are approaching me now. It's little girls.
What follows is gasoline on fresh kindling. Eubank dismisses the People's Champ label for Benn as pure fiction and then fires accusations across the stage. Contract breaches, sabotage at the weigh-in, bias from the commentary and the referee, and a 30-minute delay for his team trying to enter the stadium. Finally, the most explosive claim, that his ambulance was blocked for 20 minutes after the fight.
Now, after the fight, due to severe dehydration, I'm put in an ambulance and I have to go to hospital. I was actually so dehydrated that one of the toenails on my big toe fell off. It actually fell off. It's growing back about halfway now. But anyway, I'm in this ambulance.
Jesus, not a toenail.
I'm in the ambulance And
You still got it?
these scumbags blocked that ambulance from leaving the stadium for 20 minutes.
By the way,
Let's pause the timeline and rewind the story, because these two don't exist in a vacuum. Their surnames are stitched into British boxing history. In 1990, Chris Eubank Sr. stopped Nigel Benn in 9 to win the WBO middleweight crown. The 1993 rematch at Old Trafford ended a draw, preserving both men's belts and cementing a generational rivalry that shaped British fight culture for years. Those two nights, brutal, breathless, unforgettable, are the roots of what we see today, sons bearing the weight of fathers' mythologies. The Suns' own saga nearly detonated before it ever began. Back in 2022, their original meeting collapsed under the shock of Conor Benn's adverse findings for clomiphene. The British Boxing Board of Control moved to prohibit the fight. Legal wrangling, investigations, and public warfare followed. Benn's case became a Rorschach test for the sport who you believed said more about you than him. The fallout lingered for months and years, and even today, the shadow of that episode stretches over every microphone Benn touches. Meanwhile, Eubank Jr. took his own detours through adversity. He avenged a brutal defeat by stopping Liam Smith in their 2023 rematch, a career-restoring night in Manchester that showcased a sharper version of next-gen under trainer Brian "Bomac" McIntyre. Anyone familiar with McIntyre's resume knows what that implies: detail, discipline, a disdain for wasted moments, principles refined alongside pound-for-pound King Terence Crawford. Fast forward to this rematch build. McIntyre is back with Eubank, fresh off cornering Crawford for a monumental win that echoed beyond weight classes. The timing is uncanny, almost theatrical. As soon as this press tour ramps up, McIntyre's stock is at a peak, and Eubank Jr. is quite happy to ride that momentum into Tottenham. On the other side is Tony Sims, the tutor who has sculpted Benn into a ferocious puncher with a surprisingly poised back foot. Sims, alongside Nigel Benn's blunt honesty, forms a corner that leans into discipline and temperature control, the very things Conor admits he lost amid April's emotions. Their message for November is simple: be colder, smarter, less greedy for the kill. This tension is matched by the promotion itself. Eddie Hearn's presence is omnipresent and contentious. Eubank needles him as a desk jockey, riding fighters' backs to fame, before mocking a certain Netflix series following Matchroom's empire. For Hearn, the show is proof his machine is humming. For Eubank, it's bait. Either way, it's become part of the storyline.
Don't worry, Ben. It's okay. And you know, it's sad to see. So I'm asking you guys, the media, to shine a light on this situation and find out where is all this money going? Because it's not going to the community, I'll tell you that now. Just food for thought.
Well, let's hear from the training teams as well, quickly. Firstly to Bomac and Asel Diagaz as well, down there at the end of the table. Bomac, as Chris said, congratulations on a wonderful victory with Bud Crawford.
Now rewind to the claims. On one hand, Eubank's allegations about ambush tactics, weigh-in chaos, and a blocked ambulance are as incendiary as anything you'll hear in fight promotion. On the other, Hearn dismisses them as fantasy and threatens legal recourse. The truth will either be proven or it won't. What matters for November is how these narratives get metabolized by two training camps and one combustible arena.
Chris, can we get one thing clear? Can you can you just confirm that you are accusing
Yes, I am accusing. Yes.
Okay, say it.
You guys blocked me from getting out.
Say it.
You know, because
Matchroom.
Who else could it have been?
Go on, say it.
Why was I in an ambulance for 20 minutes?
Say that Matchroom stops you from going to the hospital.
Why was I what? So you can try and sue me with your little lawyer?
Not at all. Don't worry about that. Okay. I think you're talking about the wrong guy.
Stop interrupting me. You're not even supposed to be up here.
Say it.
These are the levels.
You talk shit.
These are the levels of
we stopped you
generosity
your toenail was falling
that these people go through. Eddie, the last time you were up here, you were talking about how famous and popular you were, even more famous than me. Remember
that's impossible. You're the people's champ.
What? But you said it.
No, you
said you were even more famous than me.
Grannies and children who are throwing themselves at you like you're the Pope. It's incredible.
That's absolutely
and even
true.
with half a toenail.
But
I can't believe it.
The fact
that's
of the matter
interesting.
is,
the fact is, you're telling us we stop your ambulance from going to the hospital.
A glorified desk jockey.
Desk jockey?
That's what you are.
Okay, that's interesting.
Living off of the back of hard-working fighters. That's what you are. So the fact that you can sit up here talking about how popular and famous you are.
If you're looking for the real story of this rematch, it lives in 3 overlapping arcs. The first is technical, weight versus experience. Benn insists Eubank looked old and vulnerable in spots, and that greed not craft undid him when chances to close appeared. Eubank counters that weight wasn't the factor, experience was, and he'll prove it again.
Wait for nearly 4 years. How many times did you hear Terence Crawford talking about the weight divisions he's coming up, fighting Canelo, who's fought at light heavyweight, and there was no rehydration clauses in that fight. So it's pretty embarrassing the amount of times that these guys consistently talk about weight. It had nothing to do with the weight. I am the better, more experienced, more dedicated fighter.
The second arc is emotional. The fight that Benn describes as his first, in so many ways first at middleweight, first stadium top, first defeat. Firsts have a habit of overwhelming even the best talents, and the footage of April shows long, looping rushes when composure was needed. Sims and Nigel both say it. The task in November is to cut the greed and honor the plan.
Absolutely one thing, and he had him hurt so many times, but yet he kept on showing all the punches that he was going to throw. And I thought to myself, mate, that weren't even a real Conor. But I'm glad that he done 12 rounds with a middleweight. And the funny thing about it, we all keep saying that, we made him struggling with the weight, but Chris is IBO middleweight champion. He fights at 160 all the time, the last 4 fights. I've been at 160. So why are we all saying...
Not with a rehydration clause, though.
Struggling at the weight. But you understand...
Ben, he didn't miss the rehydration clause. He missed his 160 weight. Why are you even up here, bruv? I don't even know why you're up here.
Conor.
No, but I genuinely don't know why you're sitting up here.
What are you famous for?
I don't know why you're sitting up here. It ain't about that, bruv. I don't even know why you're sitting up here.
What are you famous for?
Ben, not the time.
Yeah, well, you know what it is. It's just like, all we got to do, wait for November the 15th, mate, and we see the real Conor. Not running away, not lunging the punches in, taking his time, doing the best that I know that he can do. That just went the real Conor. And that's why I'm happy that he done 12 hard rounds, and yet he had him wobbling about 3 or 4 times. But
the third arc is symbolic, fathers and legacy. The walk-ins to those signature anthems weren't just nostalgia, they were a baton pass. And for all the bickering about clauses and clout, everyone knows what a Benn vs. Eubank sequel does to British boxing. It drags the past into the present and asks the sons to settle debts the fathers couldn't fully erase. Add to that the modern theater broadcast cameras, documentary crews, press conference pyrotechnics, and you get a near-perfect storm. Ticket demand reflects it. Tottenham is on standby to brim again. And while prices fluctuate, the hunger to be there hasn't. It's not just a fight, it's a civic event for fight fans.
The other faces here on the top table here, though, this evening, firstly to you, Ben Shalom of Boxer. An epic night in April, a big win for your man, Chris Eubank Jr. How do you honestly believe November 15th will compare?
Look, I want to thank Riyadh Season and Salah and the Ring for making this possible again. I think the first fight brought the popularity back to British boxing. It was the biggest night I've ever been involved in. It was a bigger fight after the fight, thanks to these 2 warriors, and it was a spectacle that demanded a rematch. It's phenomenal that we've managed to do it again in the same year, but this one will be even bigger. I think Chris Eubank Jr. and what happened and his story and the hurdles that he had to go through endeared himself to the British public like I've never seen before from a...
There's also the cold arithmetic. Eubank's best nights come when he becomes the matador he promises to be, picking shots, punishing entries, refusing to be lured into a tear-up until he wants one. Benn's best nights come when his offense has layers, jab feint low-high combinations, a sharper backhand, and a finish that doesn't chase a highlight at the expense of the round. The April tape shows both men tasted success, and both drifted from optimal choices once the crowd started to roar. The wider context matters too.
In the rematch, how do you do it?
Again, the parliamentary will be the procedure.
The master
up, Chris,
The master will be the matador. This man will be the bull.
Thank you for
I'll
your
be
TED
holding
talk,
my
Chris.
flag
This
up.
has been a pleasure.
He will be running around that ring, trying to employ all the new techniques, and I don't want to go out there and and wear my heart on my sleeve and wing my punches, so I'm going to box and we're going to have this strategy. All of that stuff is going to go out of the window as soon as that first little right hand connects on his chin. And after that, we're going to have fun in there, baby, like I always do. The procedure will be parliamentary.
Fair or not, Ben still walks under the long shadow of the 2022 doping controversy. Board figures have been vocal in the past, and scrutiny around any Ben event will always be higher. That reality shapes how every weigh-in, every test, and every presser is handled. It also shapes public opinion, and fighters can feel that hum in the arena. Eubank's public rebrand from pantomime villain to embattled professional lands at a moment when Bomac's profile is soaring and when some fans genuinely see Eubank as a survivor of stacked odds. Whether that perception holds through round 1 on November 15 is another question, but right now, it grants him a curious advantage. He can be the steady hand while chaos swirls around him.
Well, I'll tell you what, and this is no knock on them over there, I believe it's going to be a little bit easier this time. For the simple fact he already got his number. It's hard to get away from when somebody already didn't.
Then again, rivalries are fickle. One adjustment Ben finishing behind the jab, stepping around the counter, refusing to square up when he smells blood, can swing a fight 7 rounds to 5. One early counter from Eubank can make all the careful promises about patience evaporate for Ben, replacing them with the same surge that he admits unstitched him in April.
You beat Chris Eubank Jr.
Less greed. When I had him hurt in there, he's going to say I didn't have him hurt. When I thought I had him hurt, I was just too greedy in there, looking for the headshots. Game plan went out the window as soon as I hit him in the 3rd round. It was a matter of, it felt like I was always one punch away from closing the show. And I was looking for that one punch, and yeah, he looked vulnerable in there. He looked vulnerable. So at some stages, he looked old. And
the microphone warfare is part of that chessboard. Eubank's barbs about blocked ambulances and desk jockeys, Hearn's pushback and hints of legal action, Nigel's dry humor, Sim's calm corrections. Every word is aimed at nibbling the opponent's focus or buoying a fan base. Even the Netflix chatter isn't a sideshow; it's an arm of the promotion. In modern boxing, documentaries set tone, shape narratives, and perhaps most importantly, make casuals care.
I'm a bad guy, I'm in this,
All I was going to do was say a few words about...
I don't want to hear any of your few words.
Okay, I won't say anything about...
Let's move on with the press conference.
You're an
I don't want to hear anything from you.
For the record keepers, let's log the essential facts surrounding this build. The rematch date is fixed for November 15 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Bomac is in Eubank's corner, a reunion that previously produced his finest professional adjustments in the Liam Smith rematch. Ticket access is tightened but remains available in pockets. Demand reflects a rivalry that is both historical and undeniably current. For the historians, the poetry is irresistible. Ben versus Eubank 2 again. The surnames guarantee gravitas, but the son's choices will decide the verdict. If Ben controls his temperament and trusts the plan, this becomes a razor's edge tactical fight. If Eubank keeps the tempo where he wants it and lands the cleaner right hands in the middle frames, we could see the matador and bull scene he keeps promising.
No,
I know the truth is hard for you to hear.
Listen, you've already accused us of stopping your ambulance from going to the hospital. That's fair enough. We'll see.
That's what happened.
We'll see.
That's what happened.
Okay, we will see, my friend.
Listen, you've never had a hard day's work in your life.
All right.
So I don't know why you're talking to me.
And you've only had one.
That
was the last time.
A hard day's
Let me tell you, you're going to have a real hard night's work on November 15th.
In your multi-million-pound estate, writing up contracts to fleece fighters out of his...
Because this is boxing, a final layer is unavoidable. The public's appetite for drama beyond the ropes. The ambulance claim, the weigh-in disputes, the board's role. It all expands the universe of this fight into something bigger than a scorecard. But there's a truth that shrinks all that back down. When the bell rings, the only things that matter are timing, distance, and nerve, and only 2 men control those.
I worked extremely hard. I've done the best I could on the night. It was the lack of discipline on the night. You can't prepare for the occasion, the emotions. It was my first fight back here in 3 years. It's just experience gained and lesson learned, for me. But ultimately, I'll gain more discipline, more calculated.
So what should you expect on fight week? Expect sharp questions about protocols and paperwork. Expect Eubank to keep nudging the villain-turned-crowd favorite angle, whether he truly wanted that role or not. Expect Ben to preach calm and then be tested on whether he can live it when the stadium erupts. Above all, expect a fanbase divided but invested. That's the lifeblood of this sport.
Listen, Chris, the reality is, while you were sipping food for a straw, I was back in the gym after the fight, ready for September 20th. Why was you not ready? We was locked in September 20th. So if you want to talk about a little tour, I was training meanwhile. What were you doing?
I was living life, my friend.
Exactly.
I don't dance
so what you
to the
just said,
tunes of any
stupid.
man.
Well, you
I
just
don't
said
care
stupid.
that you were ready.
Listen, I don't care. Ultimately, we fight November 15th, mate. And, yeah.
If the rematch delivers, it will do so not because of the noise around it, but because both fighters convert noise into discipline. Eubank believes he can make the bout procedural, parliamentary even, a methodical handling of a man he calls reckless. Benn believes the first fight showed vulnerabilities, not that Eubank is old, but that he can be turned when pressure is applied the right way, at the right time, with the right patience.
You guys agreed the tempo.
Regardless of what was agreed.
We said, well, regardless was agreed. Well, your team are idiots then, aren't they? Because
the
that's
reason
what they
I was
agreed.
in hospital was
See, my team have my best interest at heart. They obviously don't yours, because if that's done that much damage, you'd bring it up now. Why not bring it now? You wanted to talk about it. It wasn't even a topic of discussion, Chris.
I'm not here to talk about
well,
that's
exactly.
you guys.
So then stop moaning about it.
Please.
That's you guys.
Stop moaning about
I'll
it.
let you guys moan about
Oh,
it.
we're good. We're good, Chris.
I'm here to fight.
We ain't moaned about it once. All we hear is you moaning, Chris.
I haven't moaned about
I
it.
feel flattered that you've brought.
One more subplot to track: the fathers, Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn, loomed in April like guardians of a memory. Their presence at ringside isn't just ceremonial, it is an inheritance of expectation. Senior figures, storied grudges, these things seep into a fighter's bloodstream. They can harden a will or overheat an engine. The first fight suggested both outcomes were in play. The second will tell us which legacy wins inside two modern bodies.
In all the fights that I've promoted with Chris, that rematch against Liam Smith was the most focused, was the most dedicated, was the best Chris Eubank Jr. I have seen. And I think Chris will be doing it in even more emphatic fashion on November.
Congratulations, Bomac. I mean, the performance Terence put on against Canelo the other day was exceptional. So congratulations to you. And
all that's left is the simplest question this sport ever asks: who learned more from the last time? Did Benn learn to hide his tells, vary his speeds, and finish like a surgeon instead of a sprinter? Did Eubank refine his entries, or will he wait too long for moments that require taking risk? Coaches can script rounds on whiteboards. Only a bell and a heartbeat can turn them into truth.
You know you need it. And he's a great coach. You're a great coach, Bomac. And I've got love for you, mate. But you can't polish a turd. Apologies.
One sentence prediction, Conor. Just finally, one sentence.
Listen, ain't a final prediction. I ain't going to go in there and try and render him unconscious as much as I'd love to. I'm going to go in there and do the best I can with what I can and be disciplined in there. For me, that's experience gained and really.
November 15, Tottenham. Rivalry renewed, grievances aired, documentaries rolling, tickets snapping up. British boxing thrives on nights like this, when a storyline is so thick you could cut it with a commissioner's letterhead. And yet, the best chapters are written by punches, not pressers. Drop your predictions below. Does the matador run the bull ragged, or does the bull learn to feint, stalk, and strike at the perfect moment? If there's a trilogy on the horizon, it's the fighters, not the fathers, who'll have to earn it.